Welcome to the latest episode of the Closet Corner. Today's guest is a multi-talented actress, singer, model, dancer, spokesperson, and host. She was introduced to the entertainment world at a very young age. She was only 8 when she was featured on the television show Toddlers and Tiaras. Has also performed in several regional and national television commercials, performed with Tony Bennett and Billy Joel, played at Carnegie Hall 4 times, performed in Berlin, Dresden, Prague, Austria, Budapest, Barcelona, Segovia, Toledo, Granada, Valencia, Madrid, as well as Yankee Stadium and Citi Field. Her movies include Little Miss Perfect, Nick and Nicky, Political War, and more. But most horror fans will know her as player number 3 in the 2024 smash hit Stream, brought to you by the same people that gave you the Terrifier series. This movie has the honor of being one of the top most popular slasher films on IMDb. Please welcome the one known as One Take Wonder. Of course, I'm talking about the great Liana Pirraglia to the Closet Corner. Liana, how the hell are you?
Hello, nice to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thanks for being on the show. You've done so much. Ran out of room on the piece of paper of all the things you've done. I was like, all right, I got to turn it around and mention everything else you've done. So that was, of course, a
Oh,
list of everything you've done. It's
yes,
amazing.
that was a good chunk of the resume. That was good. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I got to tell you how this whole interview was set up, though. It's funny because I interviewed Michael Levy, who wrote and directed Stream. And I tagged him on a post after I saw the movie Stream, and I loved the movie. It was one of my favorite of the year. And I saw
Thank you.
a name on there that liked it. So wait, I'm not friends with her. And I clicked on the name, and all I saw was a picture of you as the profile pic and a picture of you on the cover photo. I'm like, hey, that's the actress in the movie. So I messaged who I thought was you, and she's like,
Uh-huh.
well, this is her mom, but I will let her know. So I thought maybe your mom was just helping you out a little bit. So then I messaged her again, thinking that I was still talking to you. She goes, you know what? She just left. I promise she hasn't got in touch with you. I promise I'll have her get in touch with you. Then I said, I saw a friend request from you. And I said,
Mhm.
wait a minute. This whole time I've been talking to her mother and thinking that I was really talking to you. So
Oh my gosh.
your mother is definitely your number one fan. She has
Yes,
her whole Facebook was all about you. That's why I thought it was you.
I know. I know. She definitely keeps everybody in the loop with everything that I'm up to. And I guess for me, sometimes I try to stay, modest or humble, or I don't want to like overpost about things, or I don't know, I feel like everyone already knows, but my mom's like, I don't care. I'm posting everything 10 times. So you might get confused.
Well, I did easily get confused, but I have to
Yes.
say, do not be humble at all. You have done so much, and just like your mother, you need to be proud of everything you've done. It's so impressive. I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but you've lived the life of like a 80-year-old already, like
Oh my
all different
gosh.
achievements. I love it. And
Thanks. I just turned 23, so I still have
23.
some more time. Yes.
Wow. Well, and even on top of that, I want to congratulate you first on your recent engagement. I have to say
Thank
that.
you.
No,
Thank you so much. That's huge for me. That's like my new part-time job is planning my wedding coming up, so it's really exciting.
gosh, you have a lot of things going on. Well, listen,
Yes.
I want to talk about the we'll start when you were 8 years old because I mentioned that you did Toddlers and Tiaras.
Mhm.
That is the show, of course, everybody met Honey Boo Boo.
Yes, the classic.
What year were you on the show?
I believe I filmed the show, might have been sometime around 2007, 2008.
Oh, so you were before her, right?
Yes.
So she was
Yes.
2012, I think.
Yes, so right before Honey Boo Boo. So I was on the show. I was in like 3rd grade and I loved being on the show. I felt like a Kardashian for a couple of days while filming. And I had so much fun filming. I didn't think that they were going to use half the stuff we were filming.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's on live television. I can't believe I did that. But you get so comfortable for the few days filming that you just kind of say funny stuff. But it was a really good experience. I loved being on the show, and I like doing pageants. I know that a lot of people have like interesting perspectives on them or think that they're not beneficial, but I had a great time. To me, it was always like a fun dress up day, and I loved it when I was little.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I wanted to talk to you about because I heard a lot of these, not about you in particular, but pageants saying they're way too young, they shouldn't be dressed like this, they shouldn't be doing that. I think as long as the kids know that it's just fun to them, their parents, they have a great family, they have strong background, they can handle it. It's the parents that like force them into doing it and they really don't want to do it, and they're treating them like little 30-year-olds at 8 years old. That's a completely different story. From you, from just the clips I saw and from what I was doing my research, yeah, I saw exactly what you just said. You're having a great time. You're having fun. It's dress up. You never took it seriously. And I think that's a perfect age to do things like that because most people are extremely honest and they really don't care what they say when they're young and when they're very old. So when you're young, you're just having fun. You don't really care. People, when they're like 17 up until like 50, they're so conscious for the most part. I never
Yeah.
am. I could really care less. I love what I do and I never really worry about what other people think about me, but most people in my age range are like that. So I think that it was great that you did a show that young because it's like I said, you came from a very strong background. Your mother is obviously very proud of you. Is she your momager? Does she help you out with that?
Yes, she is considered my momager. She always helps me. And without my momager, I wouldn't have, been on the set where I met the stream guys to
Yeah.
do stream. And I wouldn't have made like that connection without doing the first thing with them. So she helps me with everything. And she's really good at networking and keeping in touch with people. And she's not afraid to promote me. So I really appreciate that.
I love it. I always tell people because over the years I've done different things like this show, I've done stand-up comedy, I wrote a book, and I always say that promoting is a completely different animal. Doing the product and writing the book, doing the radio show is one thing, but then actually getting people to see what you're doing or buy what you're writing, that's a completely different thing. And most people, when I did stand-up comedy as well, they're like, I can't promote myself. I said, you have to act like if they don't go, it's going to be the biggest event that they missed. They're going to wish that they never missed it, and they're going to want to see every show you do. And like, I can't do that. I said, you got to do it. You can be humble without being humble. If that's
Yes.
so. But when you have other people behind you doing it, like your mother, that's great. So,
Yes.
what was that? Was Toddlers in Tears the first thing that you did?
It wasn't actually the first thing that I did because I started doing like theater, but in a larger scale in my community theater, and I did like 50 shows, and then from that theater that I worked with, I did a Lexus car commercial through
Wow.
that. And so I did a car commercial, and then I did a lot of different things. I did another commercial for like a local girls spa when I was younger. I don't remember
Yep.
if I was on television 2 hours by that point, but that on all the big stations in my area, and everyone saw that commercial. So that was cool when I was younger. But my mom, she kept me busy when I was younger, and I always had fun doing everything.
How
So
did you
it
get
was
started in
nice.
that? Ah,
Definitely from theater. I think my mom saw how much I liked being on stage, and even before theater, I was in dance my whole life since I was like 1 years old. I did dance, and just being on stage is just natural to stick with it. So.
right. Well, that's the next question I was going to ask you because I have a friend who her daughter was extremely shy, and so she put her in dance, she put her in plays, just so she would get more experience and meet more people and become more outgoing, and it worked for her. Now she's doing theater. She was last I saw her, she was in like little. She's 18 years old, so she was in the high school version of the star of Clueless. No, yeah, Clueless. And then she was in Chicago. So she went from playing like Winnie the Pooh in these small plays. Now she's the lead in these little plays. So she's hoping to. Now she's in college and she's hoping to keep that up. But the reason she got into it is because she was extremely shy and her mother wanted to break her out of that, and it really helped. So, but for you, you were already a natural. You didn't worry about anything like that. You loved the spotlight, huh? At a very young age.
Well, growing up, I would say I was most definitely on the shy side. So it did help come out of my shell as well,
Yeah.
doing theater. I know that my mom, I remembered I did try doing cheerleading, and I really did not like that. My mom thought that that would make me extra loud and extra, how
Yeah.
cheerleaders can be perceived, but oh my God, I hated that. I didn't realize I had to lift people. So that was awful. But my mom, she knew how to,
Yeah.
read the room, and she's like, okay, you don't have to do that again. We won't do that. So
Do you have
that,
any
no.
do you have any brothers or sisters, or is it just you?
I have two older brothers.
Okay. Was she like that with them? Are they in the entertainment business?
My middle brother, he definitely did a couple of pageants, and he was a little pageant boy, but for a short amount of time. He also did dance for many
Yeah.
years with me. We would go to dance together. And then probably around middle school, then he wanted to switch off and do football and do more, regular manly things.
Grr.
So he's completely different now. And then my oldest brother, he was very good with academics and spent all his time doing academics. So we're all kind of different.
Very good. Now,
Yeah.
for you, how many styles of dance are you proficient in?
I don't put a number on it. I love all different styles of dance. My favorite style of dance is definitely ballet. That's
Hmm.
where I spent my most time studying, was doing ballet throughout high school and doing summer intensives with the Bolshoi Ballet Academy and different programs. I love ballet. But then I probably like hip hop next, or like
Yeah.
just random stuff. And I do tap and jazz and every style I love to do. Um, Now that I don't, do like regular, like kind of school dance that you
Mhm.
attend when you're younger, I do like aerial kind of dance. So I'll do the aerial hoop, I'll do silks and
Wow.
different things like that are more almost strength based. But I still like that they have some graceful, elegant qualities
Yeah.
while doing it.
Well, it's funny. My former boss's daughter took ballet, and I was so impressed. The pictures that he would show me is like how that she dances on her toes is one thing, but then flying through the air is just so amazing.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
how many years did you take dance? I know you said you since 1 years old. Did you go to college for that as well?
Yeah, I started when I was like, 1 years old before my second birthday. But then I did go to college. I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Hmm.
It's on the Upper West Side. I went for musical theater. So I continued studying musical theater dance and ballet and all different styles of dance while going to school there. So that was great. I loved it.
So it seems like you never ever had a doubt which direction you were going in life. You always wanted to be in the entertainment business, either with singing, dancing, or acting, or modeling.
Yeah. Yes. It always felt natural, to be a part of it. It was something I always grew up doing, so I just loved it. It was great.
I want to go over some of the highlights that I talked about in the intro. First, with the dancing, I mentioned you played all over Spain. That must have been
Mhm.
great. How old were you when you were traveling the country, just doing dance?
So for Spain, that was actually for singing. So
Oh,
I
okay, singing.
played,
Sorry.
yes, for anytime I was in Europe was for singing, and I was a part of the Metropolitan Youth Orchestra.
Ah,
So I was traveling all throughout my high school years. Well, 2 summers I did in Europe, and then with that same group is when I performed at Carnegie Hall. So that's like more like classic singing.
yeah.
And yeah, it was really great experiences.
Well, speaking of singing, let's stick with that because I mentioned two of my favorites in completely different styles, Tony Bennett and Billy Joel.
Hmm.
How'd you get the chance to perform with them?
So I also attended the Long Island High School for the Arts, and Billy Joel is
Yeah.
someone that really supports the Long Island High School for the Arts. So he goes to the school, he'll do some performances, he always makes appearances there. And Tony Bennett was having an event, and he wanted some youthful energy from the high school to come perform. So we performed at Tony Bennett's event, and yeah, and then he gave the school tickets to go see his amazing performance at Madison Square Garden. And yeah, they're really cool people that like to remember their communities, where they came from, and involve everybody, so it's nice.
I love that, and I never met him, but I've seen him in so many interviews, and it seems like, well, both of them, but they seem like they have the best personality. Like Tony Bennett just seems so down to earth, so funny, and
Mhm.
so not full of himself. Never takes himself seriously, but does always a great. I never saw him in concert. I would have loved to, but
Yeah.
it seems like he just always put on a great show. It reminds me of Roger Waters. I've seen him several times from Pink Floyd, and he always, wherever city he's in, I saw him in Philadelphia, I saw him in Connecticut, and I saw him somewhere else. He always gets the local schools, and they do the song "Brick on the Wall." We don't need no education, so he always promotes local artists, and he brings the kids from the schools on stage with him for every city he's in. I like that.
Mhm. Very nice. That's very sweet. Yeah, they make amazing memories and then you remember it forever. So
Yeah.
it's to include all the generations together.
So did you do more traveling as a singer than you did as a dancer?
Um, I would say that I've traveled more places for singing, but yeah, but I've done so many performances for, both different things, but definitely probably for singing. I traveled more internationally for that. But then I've done work as a dancer in New York and different things too. So it's a mix.
Yeah. And what's for singing, what's your favorite style? Or do you have one?
My favorite style to sing, I really like singing more American standard, like classic songs. I love anything that has really thought out, beautiful lyrics. And that's my favorite style to sing.
Like who are some of your favorite bands currently?
Well, when I think of people that I like to sing like, I think of I think Marilyn Monroe is so glamorous and she's known probably for being a model actress more, but when you hear her sing, I just think that she's just so inspirational and I really like that side of her. So definitely the feminine flair of music is what I like to sing
Yeah.
personally.
You know what I love about that? Because I work with a lot of younger people, and every time I mention names like Marilyn Monroe, who's that? I never heard of that. I said, I wasn't born then. I said, don't you watch movies? Don't you read books? I mean, I wasn't born when the Marx Brothers were around, Three Stooges, W.C. Fields, but I still know who they are. And that's why I love the fact, since you brought her up, what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is the classic Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. I
Yeah, great
think
movie.
that is her most adorable movie, and I just think she's so cute. So that's my favorite. And I can watch that movie like over and over, and I never get sick of it.
Yeah, that's a great. And I was so impressed when I heard you say that, because, like I said, most people your age, I never heard of her. Well, who's that? I was like, how can you not know who Marilyn Monroe is? So, and I think she was
Iconic.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's. Speaking of movies, though, so you did singing, dancing, and I know Toddlers and Tears. You were on that. So when did you get into acting? I know you did stage productions first. I'm guessing through school. What led you to movies?
Um, From movies, I did some films, like kind of small, like indie films when I was younger. And then, just doing different auditions. I was with a few different agencies that would send me to different auditions. And just with that experience and just like sticking with it, I had different experiences in film and short films and commercial work and different
Yeah.
things like that.
What do you like better? Because with live, you have instant gratification. You know, you get the audience reaction, you feed off their energy. And then when you're filming a movie, it's mostly hurry up and wait.
Mhm. Yeah, so when you're on set, those set days are very long in front of a camera, but I don't know, I like both energy. They're both really fun.
Yeah.
I like the bright lights. I have my ring light going right now. I love even on a, regular film set. I like when the lights are going, when you're on stage, the lights, the energy is like a nice warm energy. So I really like both and I think that they go both hand in hand. And I think in my future, I see myself continuing to do both and not, choosing one over the other. I think it's good to do both.
Oh no,
So
definitely. You keep your options open, and you're going to have work no matter what you do. Because eventually, maybe you'll want to start directing, producing. I mean, so that it's such an open road for you. Like all the doors are open. I love it. But
yes.
I mentioned in the intro, and I want to talk about this because you did a movie called Political War, and it
Hmm.
was a Bollywood movie, India movie.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
first of all, let's talk about how you got that movie.
So definitely just from networking again at a different event that was, different kind of like acting event. I met the director, Makash, and he liked me a lot from meeting me at that event. And he's like, I have this, movie that he was working on and he wanted me to be a part of it. And the whole movie is in the Indian language, but my section is in English and I loved my part. I liked playing a glamorous kind of American actress in the film, but it was interesting to, watch the whole movie in subtitles. It's a beautiful movie and it was just so cool to be a part of it. That was my first movie that was like in a theater that I could go
Uh,
sit down and watch, and that's like it was a pretty cool moment. So I liked it.
I can't imagine that. I want to talk to you about the theater experience in a minute, but before that, I want to talk about Bollywood because I had a girl when I was a manager at CVS. I had one of my cashiers was from, and her parents were from India, and she was born here, but she still loved the culture, and she would give me all these Bollywood movies. And what I loved about them was it doesn't matter which genre, it doesn't matter if it's comedy, horror, romance. It's always 4 hours long. There's always a song and dance. It doesn't matter what it is, and I loved it. I never got bored with it. It was great. It was so entertaining.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's good. There was a song and dance going on in the movie. It makes
What's
it
it?
more entertaining, but I don't think it was 4 hours long. It must have been like something like I think it was less than two. It must have been
Okay.
like yeah, it wasn't anything too crazy long. So I liked it. It is good energy
Yeah.
movies. So
Well,
yeah.
actually, you made a comment. I wanted to talk about that because years ago, Steven Spielberg, who when he first did Jaws, that was one of his first movies. Uh,
Mhm.
he said he wanted to go into the theater and see how the audience was reacting without him knowing, well, everybody knowing that he was in there. So, have you ever done that with your movies? Go in there just to watch the audience reaction, see how they're reacting to your parts?
Well, basically, the first time when I went in for my Bollywood movie, I I didn't want anyone to know that I was going to go see my movie, but it was kind of a language barrier, so I didn't really know anyone's like true impressions of it, because they probably know different things about the political war that I don't.
Yeah.
It was just still cool because you could kind of look around and just see the energy of how they like certain scenes. So it's like you have a little secret. So I like that for sure. And same with Stream. I loved seeing it, people's reactions and how they liked the movie. I think it had all positive reactions, so it's definitely cool to be a part of it.
I could say I saw it in the theater. For some reason, it only played for maybe a weekend here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I saw it that day, and the audience screamed when they were supposed to, laughed when they were supposed to, went, were aghast when they were supposed to. I mean, all the reactions that Michael wanted, he got from the screening that I went to. Everybody
Aw,
loved it. So
that's amazing.
that I have to say it was definitely in my top three of the year. I watched it 4 times already, and I yeah, it's a great movie. So since we mentioned that, let's talk about that because you mentioned that you met. I mentioned Michael Levy, his brother Jason, and they're called Fuzz on the Lens Productions. And how did your mother introduced you to them?
Well, I met them on a different set, and I would describe them as just very hardworking guys. If they have any friends, like they're always looking to help their friends out. So they were actually on a different set helping out their friend. I believe it was Marcus, that was filming at that time
Hmm.
for the different set that we were on, and they're just always looking to help out. So they were on set helping and I met them and we clicked and we connected through social media and then we just stayed in contact and I just always kind of made it known like if they ever needed an actress for any of their roles coming up that I would love to be a part of another one of their projects. And then COVID hit and there was like nothing going on, and the whole world was upside down. But then they contacted me that they had a role that would be perfect for me, which was player 3.
Hmm.
And they sent me like a sketch of what she was going to kind of look like and what her outfit would be. And I thought, wow, this is cool. This could be fun. Something different for me. It's a little scary, but um I said yes. I couldn't wait to be on set with them and, break out of the COVID world and go back on set because it was kind of like crazy time. So it was nice to be on set with them.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
so I met
I only
them.
met Michael. I never met Jason, but I interviewed him for maybe an hour and a half. Such a great, down-to-earth guy, and extremely talented too. When you first met them, did you go back and watch some of their other movies to see what they did?
Yes, I did. I watched their movie called Abnormal
I
Attraction.
was going to mention it. I
And
love that
yeah,
movie.
they love having star-studded movies. They had a lot of, big names in that movie. And I watched like a bunch of their YouTube clips because I want to see what they're up to.
Yeah.
And they are just, funny Staten Island guys. And I think that that really, shows through a lot of their work that they do. So good energy. So I was happy to work with them.
I'm glad you mentioned that was the one I was going to bring up because after I saw Terrifier 2, I got in touch with Michael. I said, I want you to do a show. But then I went back, and that was the first movie I watched. And I said, this movie is hilarious. Like you said, it's got Malcolm McDowell. I think it had Gilbert Gottfried. It had Tom Hanks' brother. I can't remember all the people, but it was just star-studded. But it was so bizarre in a great way. It had a great sense of humor. I'm like, where the hell is this movie going? And I loved every second of it. And I said, this is,
Yes.
and with this movie too, with Stream, I want to ask you because so far on the show, I mentioned I had Dee Wallace on the show. I had Daniel Roebuck twice. I've had you, I've Michael Levy, but I've met Jeffrey Combs. I've met Tim Reed. I met Danielle Harris. There's so many great people in that movie. So I know you worked with was it David Howard Martin?
Yes, David
He plays
Victoria.
Art the Clown.
Yeah.
But how many of the other people did you have a chance to work with? Not work with, but maybe even meet in that movie?
So for the filming, I really only worked with people that were in the same scenes as me. So that was definitely like David Howard Thornton and the other actors and actresses that were like in the same scenes. But everyone was great to work with, and then kind of more like at the premiere, then I was able to meet other people that I didn't have any scenes with, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in this movie too. I don't know if you know me. I'm the girl behind the mask, but that's me. So then yeah, at the showcase, then I was able to meet more people. But if I wasn't in a scene with them, I didn't see them on set most likely, which is kind of funny. But they film everything in sections and they filmed all over. They filmed in like some in Pennsylvania, some in Staten Island. I filmed some upstate New York, in Cooperstown, New York. So some scenes you never knew where we were.
Yeah. Where'd they film your scenes?
I filmed in Staten Island. I filmed at the hotel in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I filmed in Cooperstown, New York. And I think those were my 3 areas, but all at different times. And yeah. All it's all spread out throughout almost a couple of years, but not really, but like a little bit. Not really. It's kind of spread out.
Yeah. Well, word on the street has it that that hotel in Gettysburg was haunted.
Yes, most definitely. You don't even need to film a horror movie to feel like you're in one. 'Cause I when I arrived to the hotel, I don't know how, I guess I was with my mom, but I feel like we kinda, I don't know if we got lost, but somehow we were there like at 12 o'clock at night. There was nobody at the front desk. It was so creepy. They were like filming, they had been filming scenes, so like the lights were like purple in the hotel, like they had the lights on, and I was like, what is going on? And we went into our room, and I think the people were kind of using it as like a waiting room or something because there were like little drops of blood like
Uh,
when you entered. I was like, what the heck? It was so creepy. But then we told Michael, like, is this okay? And he's like, oh yeah, something, probably the makeup team just dropped a little bit of blood.
sure, sure. The makeup crew. Blame it on
Yeah,
them. That's funny. Do you
it was
believe in the
so scary.
paranormal?
You know, I think that if I ever feel any weird energy, I believe that God is stronger, and then I
Yeah.
just pray to God to protect me. And so then I believe that that is the strongest thing,
Yeah.
more than anything else.
It's funny because I am a skeptical believer. I want to believe, I want to think there's something out there, but I think 99% of it is just BS. But I think there's something out there. And the reason I bring that up was I don't know if you ever heard of the movie The Conjuring.
I've heard of it, but I have not watched it.
Okay, it's based on a real couple that lived in Connecticut called the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I've been over their house many times, and they actually have the real Annabelle doll there, which is really a Raggedy Ann doll. I've been over there. I was friends with them. They're both deceased now, but the movie is based on. There's three of them right now, and they're making a fourth one. It's based on all of their experiences. So the Conjuring House is based on a house in Rhode Island, and I went there, and it was a paranormal convention. I was just making a joke. I said, I'm gonna make friends with the owners. I'm gonna be invited to the house. I'm gonna stay overnight." And I went to the paranormal convention, talked to them. They're like, "Hey, you want to come over?" And they're like, "Hey, you want to stay for the weekend?" So I was sitting there because for me, like I said, I believe and I want to believe, but I said, I want to see something. I want to meet Casper the Ghost. I don't want to meet the Exorcist. I don't want to be possessed. I want to see something though. But between 12 o'clock is the witching hour, 3 o'clock is the devil's hour, and supposedly in the movie, and I met the person the story was based on too. So she was saying that a lot of the stuff happened in the basement. So I'd be in the basement from 12 to 3 in the morning. I know you're there. Show yourself. Show. And unfortunately, I didn't see or hear or feel anything. I wanted to, but
Oh my gosh, you're brave. I would not even want to try to talk to anything, you know what I mean? That's crazy. You're brave.
well,
You couldn't, oh my God, that's
either
crazy.
crazy or stupid. I'm not sure which one, but
Ah, oh my God. I felt some weird energy, kind of maybe similar. I had a friend that lived next to the Amityville Horror House. I don't know if
yep.
you've heard of this
Oh
house
yeah,
on Long Island, but I had a
Amityville.
friend, yeah, that lived right down the block. And and I went over to her house. So nice. We were having like a Friendsgiving, so sweet, and like it was a great time. But I was like, then when I was leaving, I didn't like the energy on the block, you know what I mean? I definitely felt some creepy energy. I think I went to her house one more time and I was like, I don't know if I can do this because I feel like nervous and scared. And definitely bad vibes. Even though she was so nice in her house, so cute and everything, but oh my God, the energy, sometimes the energy doesn't lie.
Oh no,
So,
I agree with that completely. I performed comedy right down the street from there. I can't remember the name of the place now because this was probably 2014, 2015, but I drove by
mhm.
the house to check it out. I didn't feel any energy, but it was mostly because had to go to work the next morning. So I'm like, all right, wow, that looks cool. Let me take a picture. But I do have, since we're on that subject, I do have one story which out of all the years I've done, I've gone on so many different paranormal tours and ghost walks or whatever you want to call them. And there was one in Connecticut, and the woman said, at this house, during the Civil War period, these two young boys died, but they're very playful and they like to show themselves. I was across the street without a flash. I took a picture and then I saw something, a blur. Thank God that, now you can zoom in and not like the old days where you'd have to wait at Photomat, get it developed, and it would see just a blur. So I was able to zoom in. I was like, what's that? And in the thing, I got to send this to you. There's two young boys in the window. And it was just weird. And I took it to so many quote unquote paranormal experts, and everybody's like, I don't know what that is. So could be real, could just be, but I know it wasn't a flash. There was no flash. There was nobody in the house because it was just I looked in there. It was completely empty, and those that picture matched what the ghost tour was saying. So
Oh my God. No, that's crazy. I'm a big scaredy cat. That would have sent me overboard. That's insane.
that's funny.
Yes.
Well, is playing player number three. You mentioned that you did this during COVID. I have to say, because I interviewed Michael, I think it was around COVID time, and they are quick with their movies. Weren't they filming Terrifier 2 and Stream back to back around the same time?
They were, yeah, they filmed Stream and then they filmed Terrifier 2. Then Terrifier 2 came out. And then I believe they filmed Terrifier 3 and then Stream came out and then Terrifier 3 was out immediately right after. So they were
Wow.
busy, busy.
Yeah, and you know it's funny because he was saying, and I want to know, want to see if they did this with Stream during Terrifier 2. I don't know did you see that one yet?
I've seen clips, but I honestly like even though I'm a part of Stream and it's
Yeah,
a horror movie,
yeah.
I think Terrifier 2 and 3 they're a little up there for me on scary level. So I like how you said Casper the Ghost. That's about as scary as I could go. Because otherwise I'll have like nightmares and stuff. But I have seen clips and yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring that up was that he was saying that they had so much time.
Excuse
There's
me.
one bedroom scene. You have to maybe you could look it up on YouTube, where this kill is just goes on and on and on. And they were saying that he and Damien Leone had so much time to think about it. They're like, let's see how creative and how over the top we can go with this kill. So I was wondering if they did anything like that in Stream, since they had all this time on their hands. They're like, how can we make this kill the most creative? Because they do come up with some pretty creative kills in Stream as well.
They do. I mean, for me, I guess with the we did like the X marks the spot. We did
Yep, tic tac toe.
the checkerboard, tic-tac-toe board.
Yep.
And in that scene, you know, one minute you're like laughing, having fun on set, the next minute you're just screaming. And it's just crazy how you know, each little snippet kind of takes a long time to get that whole checkerboard
Oh yeah.
painted on and make it all look so realistic. But then it comes together in a short scene and it's, you know, looks so real and crazy, but you know, it's just kind of fun in the moment. You don't realize how crazy it can look after it's filmed. So
Yeah.
I think that was a really like a vivid scene that I liked seeing come to life, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely takes a little bit of time to get it all together and get what movements down that we want to do and everything. So yeah,
Well, I'm
but there
glad.
was
Oh, go ahead.
yeah there was a lot of just some creative freedom when it came to our movements and what we wanted to do, and then some things that were definitely like scripted that they wanted to see. So I liked the mix of everything, and then it all came together.
No, I'm glad. What a great segue. That's exactly what I was going to ask you because you're a dancer and David's been doing this for so long. So the two of you, I was wondering how much of it was actually improvised or how much was actually choreographed by either Michael or somebody else saying, I want you to walk down the hall like this, or you and David were just like, let me do, David all his moves and you going like this. I loved it. It's just because you were so, what I love about their movies is that it's so over the top, but it's so much fun. Because like some of these horror movies, they take themselves way too seriously and they just go for the blood and guts. They go for the blood and guts, but it's done in such a fun way that you're like, this is great.
Yes. Yeah, so I would say it's a pretty, you know, a good mix. We definitely got some structure on what they wanted to see, but I knew going into it that I wanted to add my own like feminine girly flair to anything I could if it made sense. I definitely wanted to do that and channel some Harley Quinn energy. So that was like really fun for me. I also like we were working with the stunt coordinator a little bit at the beginning, and I was like, if you need me to do any high kicks, I could kick somebody in the face, no problem. The stunt coordinator's like, you're too tiny. You're not. There's no way, you know, that I'm not tall enough to kick like a man in the face. I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I could do it in 1 second. But like, you know, just graze you know, not actually hit anybody, but just for stunt purposes. So that was fun to add in my own flair. I did some little spin kicks and there's so much that's filmed that you don't that doesn't always land up in the movie, but it's fun in the moment. So it's nice.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, maybe it'll make it on the extended version of the DVD, however they put it out next. Uh,
Yes.
well, you said you did most of your own stunts, which is great because of your dancing abilities, and you were able to do that. And of course, they must have loved you because you're known as the one take wonder. You didn't do have to do a lot of takes.
Yes, yes. Well, on set, sometimes they have to put the camera angle. They'll do
Yeah.
from this angle, then they'll change the angle, then they'll change it again. But I try to do everything as efficiently as possible. And also with player three, I didn't have any lines, so that was also good too. So anytime I had a movement to do, I tried to do it as efficiently as I could because I know those days could get long. So for me, I love it. I think, and I always, if I could do it in one take, that's the best. I try to just feel what the camera wants and get the angle.
Yeah,
So
but when, with all your theater work and commercials and TV shows and other movies, it's just natural. You've been doing it your whole life, so you know exactly what they want. And
yeah,
question for what they want. I interviewed somebody that was directed by Clint Eastwood. He said Clint Eastwood was basically just one take. That's it. I don't want it to look too rehearsed. I don't want it to look overacted. I just want a genuine reaction. So he basically just filmed it once and went out to a new scene. Do they have a similar style? The Fuzz and the Lens Productions guys?
I would say that they like to get some, just in case, just some reassurance. They definitely do a few
Yeah,
takes just in case. They could get the perfect one the first time. They're like, wow, that was good. But they're like, let's get another just for safety.
yeah.
So I think that's good. And they definitely like to switch up the camera angles to make it all nice and cohesive. Um, but I think they like some safety. They do a few takes.
Which I think is smart too, because but some people like Stanley Kubrick, which if you don't know, he did The Shining, he did Full Metal Jacket, Doctor Strangelove, Lolita. He did would do in The Shining. I think they were actually Malcolm McDowell who played in Abnormal Attraction. He was in Clockwork Orange, another movie he did. They would do over 100 takes with Stanley Kubrick, and Jack Nicholson played in The Shining would do over 100 takes. I think that is overkill.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's insane. If you don't get it by, just a few,
yeah.
move on.
Exactly. That's why I asked you that question because it seemed like they had that type of style, and I love because plus like you said too. Sometimes let's get it from this angle. All right, let's try it from this angle too. So then they can splice it together, and you'll have different shots of the same scene.
Yes, yes. So then they could put it all together. But it wouldn't go over too many takes.
Yeah.
Just just enough, and then that they have, enough footage to work with. There's some different options to work with. So, yeah.
And I heard David mention what you just said. He said that there was sort of a Joker Harley Quinn chemistry. Was that planned when they were making the movie, or did you two just when you're working together, you realize that that's what came about?
You know something? I don't know what they told David beforehand. I don't know if that was his own spin on it. I don't know if he likes doing the clown
Yeah.
kind of persona. So I was honestly curious about that too because they kind of told me they didn't really tell me Harley Quinn, but I just feel like, a girl badass killer like that's the blueprint is Harley Quinn, so that's who I could find, like, some inspiration from because there's not too many of them. Um, so that was my inspiration, but maybe I feel like just the energy just worked well, and they might have told him that, I'm not sure, I'd have to ask him.
Well, I personally think that your part in the movie ended way too soon.
No, me too. I was like, wow, they killed me off. And the girl first, they killed me off really
I
quick.
know.
Ladies first.
Exactly. That's the one time you don't want it to be ladies first. They kill the.
Yes.
Here's what I
Uh,
think should be done. If you're listening to this, you have to do an origin story of you and David's character, the brother and sister origin story. I like
yes,
that.
sibling stories and how we're so crazy.
Exactly. How you came. It should end right where Stream starts. Or no, yeah, the other movie should end right where Stream starts. That'd be a great prequel to Stream.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right.
I 100% am on board.
Well, from what I saw, and I'm sure most of the people watching this already saw the movie. If they didn't, I'm not going to give anything away. But it seems like they're going to keep this going with the way it ended.
hmm Yeah,
But then again, unfortunately, Tony Todd was in the movie, and he recently passed away too. So
I know. May he rest in peace.
yeah,
I do believe that they filmed a lot of the second stream movie in the franchise. I don't know if he's a part of it because
yeah.
I was already killed off. So I don't
Oh,
know who is a part of the next cast. But they do have a franchise going in another movie that I believe is like basically already filmed. So or a lot of it is filmed. So that's really exciting for them. But if they're ever wanting to do a throwback to the original Player 3, that would be good. I don't even know if there's any girl killers in the next one. I'm not sure.
You know, I
I
think
think
some, I think that has to change. I think something needs to be done about that.
I could just, be resurrected.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many movies where it's like the ghost. You like example. Did you ever hear of the movie Phantasm? I don't know if you saw that one. That's a movie I grew
I
up watching.
haven't.
You
I
do?
haven't. No, I
Okay.
have not seen it.
The reason I bring that up is there's a main character that dies, but in the second one, it's a ghost. Like they have these orbs that drill into people's heads. He becomes one of the orbs. So he's still in the movie. Or another example that you would probably know would be Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. He gets killed, but then he's in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So there's a way they could bring it back.
Right, right. They'd have to work that in. That could be a good idea.
There was one story. I'm not sure if you were in the hotel at this time, and I want to get your take on the story. Michael was telling me that everybody was told that they're filming a movie. Most of the people were gone. There was one older woman that was never told, and I guess David was doing his things, and this woman, I guess like he was just messing around, and he looked. I'm trying to remember the story because it was over 4 years ago when I heard it. The lady had a shotgun either at the door or at David's head, and he's like, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. We're making a movie."
Oh my gosh, that's insane. And I actually never heard that story, and I probably was not on set for that. That must have been like after I had left the set,
Yeah,
or that's so nuts. I don't know why that old lady would stay in that hotel because that hotel was crazy. I that hotel is probably just good for horror movies because it's creepy. But wow, who brings a gun to a
I
hotel?
know. No, I mean, Michael's the one that told me the story. It wasn't like I read it somewhere, so I heard it
Yeah,
straight from the person
no,
that was there.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when that happened, but that is insane. But there was like random guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
When you went there, were there people that were leaving the hotel because of the movie was beginning? Did you see that?
I don't even. I think when I arrived, I was like, there were so many new people to meet, like between the crew that was working on different sound and different stuff. So sometimes I wouldn't know if people were on the crew or not, and I wasn't really sure, but I think that there was some stragglers of people that were actually staying at the hotel.
Yeah.
And I think that before I left, there might have been like some like young boy like sports like award night. I know it sounds so weird, but I think that that was happening one night, but it was a used, hotel. Wow, it was creepy.
See, I would love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That has some energy to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one you might see Casper. I don't know.
Like I said, hopefully only Casper. I don't want to be
Yes.
seeing Beelzebub or what any other Malachi, any other ghosts that want to come out. Um,
Mhm.
I noticed when on Facebook that a lot of the cast, or maybe not a lot, but like Michael, David, and a couple of the other people, Jason, they were going to some of the movie premieres. Were you a part of that?
So I went to the main premiere with the whole cast. And then when the movie came out that week, I was in Florida and that trip had been planned already. So I went to a Florida theater, which was cool. But my mom, she is my number one fan. She made sure to go to every showing in New York. And I don't know, I guess it was like, super popular in New York. So she was like, everybody know that I'm Player 3, her daughter. And she's making the connection. She's making it happen. So I really appreciate her for that.
Well, first of all, I want to thank your mom for basically getting this interview ready. But,
Yes.
but maybe she can help me with this podcast. Maybe she can get more viewers for me.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she knows how to promote it.
All right. Well, when this comes out, I'm going to send this. The first person I'm sending this to is your mom.
Aw, yes, good marketing. She's the best.
I live in Connecticut, and I go to a chiller convention, which is in New Jersey. And they used to have Fangoria, they had Rock and Shock. All these conventions are usually the ones in my area are ending, unfortunately, but Chiller is still going strong. Have you ever had a chance to either go there or be a part of it?
I haven't had a chance to be a part of a convention yet. But I'm hoping to be a part of one in the future whenever I can work one out with my schedule. So crazy. I think that there was one and I was just like in Mexico, so I couldn't go to that one. But then there's one coming up, and I'm like coming back from,
Yeah.
South America. So I'm hoping to go to one in March, but we will see. Or if there's anything before that, then I'd like to know about conventions because it's so cool how many people have like cosplayed as player three and that they're just so into it and they like meeting the cast, so that'd be super cool to be a part of it.
Yeah. Didn't you, I think I heard you say one time you saw pictures and you're like, I don't remember being at this convention. You realize it was cosplay, somebody playing Player 3.
Yep, this is true. This is true. Every time I see a cosplay, I'm like so impressed about how detail oriented the costumes are and how every little detail is, just so nicely picked out that I can't even like I would have thought it was me or the exact outfit that I was wearing. So if I saw one in person, that'd be crazy. Because they do a really good job.
Yeah, no, I've go to Chiller mostly because it's maybe an hour or two, I mean, an hour and a half to 2 hours away from me, and it's every April and every October. And I would
Mhm.
definitely love to meet you and maybe have a picture of you doing your infamous kick right to my face.
Oh my gosh, that's a good photo op there. That's a good one.
We definitely gotta do that. So hopefully
And
I'll
I'd be
see.
careful.
Yeah, I'm not worried. You're a professional. I'm not worried at all.
Yes, yes. That's funny.
Um, I want to talk about because we were talking about acting, and not too long ago there was the actor strike and the writer strike. I want your opinion on this because the reason they went on strike was all because of AI. What's your opinion on AI taking people's images and being able to use it for film?
I think that it is something interesting. Like technology is you kind of have to work with it because it's not going away.
Mhm.
So I think that if people try to use it to their advantage, it could be something good or,
Mhm.
asking AI how it can help you with a role
Yeah.
instead of, other things. But with social media, it's so easy for people to I've had fake accounts made of me or, just fake videos, but it's like is it a fan video or is it someone faking being me? Like it's just like weird to even tell what's going on. And that's not even AI. That's definitely like someone behind a phone like making a fake account.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird situation that I don't think many people have the answers to. But I'm hoping that people can use technology to their benefit and use it for good reasons and not, bad reasons. But technology's it's here to stay. It's not going away. So I think people just have to navigate the new world. So yeah.
No, I love that attitude because I'll give you a couple examples. Years ago, Napster came out and they were everybody's stealing our music. What can we do? Like you said, now it went away Napster where they're stealing their music, but basically Spotify's stealing their music because they're only getting 1 penny for maybe every song. So they're really not making any money from the streaming services, but they have to learn to work together with that, just like writers and actors, or no, I want to say special effects, because CGI came out and these people that do like say Damien Leone, he does these great special effects, but I'm sure he found a way to work with CGI if he has to, because CGI is unfortunately is not going away. I prefer the authentic, genuine effects like Damien does, and Tom Savini, Rick Bottin, some of these other makeup artists, Rick Baker, but I know that CGI is going to be used in some movies, and if you work with it instead of work against it, just you get along much further in the industry.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So I think people with time will find a good way to adapt with it.
Yeah. So what'd you do during the strike? Like what'd you do for work?
So during the strike, well, with stream is when I am like SAG eligible, but there wasn't, many auditions going around or any
Yeah.
big things going around. Let me think. That was kind of a long time ago. Let me think. Well, when I'm not acting or, when I'm not a part of films, I work at Hooters and I'm a Hooters girl. But
Mhm.
Hooters is good though because I did the international Hooters bikini calendar.
All right.
And and I think during the strike I also did a Hooters campaign. I think that was probably during the same time period. And I did some advertising modeling for Hooters. They only use people that like work at the company for their ads and stuff. So that was good for me. That made me feel happy to work there during that time. And it kind of still felt like I was still in the entertainment industry doing modeling.
Yeah.
So that was fun for me and I still do it now. When I'm not having a role to do. But yeah, I didn't take it so serious. I know some people took it pretty serious,
Oh yeah.
but I don't think I'm not really a serious kind of person.
Yeah, which I can see that about you, and I love that. I love your attitude.
Yeah.
It's just like you
Yeah.
just go with the roll with the punches. You're like, yeah, whatever.
I'm very go with the flow. I almost think maybe because I'm like some people are like type A, maybe I'm not type A. So I'm like kind of like fluid. I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, and you don't let things bother you, and you always land on your feet. So it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yes. You know how it is.
Yeah, and I do have to say, I love Hooters. I'm so mad because they took the only one that was in Connecticut away, and I'm not lying when I say I used to love their wings. They have the best wings.
They do. The food is good.
Yes.
Oh my God. The food, whenever I travel now, like if I can, I go to like the foreign Hooters because it's so fun. That's like my new favorite pastime. So I'm sad that the one in Connecticut closed. That's
Yeah.
sad. That's it's an iconic place, so it's fun to work there.
It was funny because I go to a coffee shop to either read some books and get some tea, coffee, and I work on my interviews. And every day I would drive by that, and I was like, I gotta stop there one day. And then one day I get there, and it's a walk-in medical center. I said, no, for the love of God! If
No.
every time I drove by, so I'm gonna stop in there one day. And then one time I said, oh wait, where the hell is it? And that was the only one left. Back in the '90s, they were everywhere in this area
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I hope, I guess they say this generation isn't as into that kind of restaurant, but I think the food's good and I think it's fun
Yeah.
place. Like I went to one when I went to Japan, I went to Hooters. I just went to Mexico. I went to the Hooters in Mexico. I've been to the one in Las Vegas. Like if I'm traveling, like I know it's gonna be a fun place to eat and then I get a shirt so I can wear it when I work.
I love it. That and
It's
you should
fun.
just bring your calendar with you everywhere you go. Like, hey, look at me. I'm April.
I should, but I'm like shy, so
You got to bring your mom with you.
I know my mom, she tells everybody if she comes with me. And then even my fiance now, he likes to tell everybody she was in the calendar, like he'll tell people. So it's sweet.
Where can people get that?
The calendar, I mean,
Yeah.
I was in 2022.
Okay.
So I'm not I don't have any like I have like 3 extra, but they
Okay.
don't sell the 2022 anymore, but maybe in
Okay.
the future I'll be in it again.
Okay. That's
Yes. So sold out. I remember when I had them at my store, I sold them all out. And I would sign them and it was cute.
and we also mentioned that you do modeling. Where do you do modeling now?
Whenever it comes up. So I did modeling at Hooters, but then I've also done modeling for like Amazon
No.
and like I modeled like scrubs, or I modeled like a karaoke machine and that was on Amazon. And what else have I done? Just like, just like random, like almost like side jobs that kind of take a day to photograph and then they're used for like print ads. I guess that's considered print work.
Yeah.
So yeah, whenever it comes up, I'm always happy to do it. Those are like the best. So fun.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about this because I want your opinion on this because I interviewed several people and actually one actress I interviewed, she was in the movie Abnormal Attraction. Her name is Leslie Donaldson, and that's how she's the one who introduced me to Michael Levy. But she said she was 13 years old. She was from Canada, and she was doing the Sears catalogs. And they're like, "You're too fat. You got to lose 10 pounds." And I was interviewing somebody else, and they were doing the same thing. And she was only maybe 14 or 15 years old. Is that industry changed a lot? Where
That's insane.
yeah,
Well, I always feel like, why would someone even say that to someone? Like, why not just hire someone else? I don't know. That's
exactly.
like so weird.
Yeah.
Um, I never experienced anything like that. I did just lose like I just lost like 30 pounds, but not for any kind of acting or anything, just like for personal like health reasons.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I had to lose some weight because I was my fiance was courting me too much and taking me out to eat too much. So it was for good reasons, but I had
Too
to
much
shed.
celebrating.
Yes, I was being too courted, which is good. But I lost some weight recently, and I think some people think like, oh, it's for acting, or it might be for modeling, or it might be for that I'm getting married. But I'm like, I have just for health, which is good. But it's really sad that maybe some people had to do that for modeling.
Yeah.
I know for some roles, I hear sometimes for some roles, it can make a character. Maybe if you're playing like, I don't know, someone that is like a drug addict, maybe you could lose weight. But I think there's so much you could do with makeup. Like you
Yeah.
could just hollow out your cheeks, and if it's good makeup, no one will know. So I think the industry has definitely changed with like that kind of taboo stuff.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, I mean, also
Mhm.
now it's CGI. They can make somebody look emaciated. They can make somebody look obese. They don't need to lose all the weight. Like, do you know who Christian Bale is? You probably, well, he played Batman in one of the movies, but he's been in so many other movies. And
Okay.
the reason I'm bringing him up was that goes to extremes. He lost 70 pounds for one movie to play a heroin addict. Then he gained 80 pounds to play this wannabe 70s mafia guy. Then he lost another 50 pounds, but then gained it back again to play Dick Cheney in a movie called I think it was called Cheney. It was
He's very talented.
he is.
Honestly, just I think losing and gaining weight is a talent because just losing weight, maybe just for women, oh my God, it's not easy to lose weight. So maybe for him, he has a talent just losing and gaining weight because to put on weight's hard, to lose weight's hard. That's crazy.
Yeah, but he
He's
said he
very
lived for a year. He lived on one apple and a cigarette a day. That was it.
Oh my gosh.
He says he had a
Yeah.
lot more fun gaining the weight than he did losing the
Mhm.
weight. But yeah, going from extreme, like Matt Damon said, he did it once for a movie. He says, "I will never ever do that again. I got so sick. I don't care. Let them put the pads on me. If I have to gain weight, they can put the pads on me. If I have to lose weight, they can do something else. But I'm not going to go through that again."
Yeah. Just a
Some,
lot of makeup and like shadows, different things can really do a lot for
oh yeah,
you. So yeah. I know for player three, I was just myself.
yeah. Well, you could
Mm,
tell. You were just having the
yeah.
time of your life, like just watching you strolling down the hallway or killing well, I'm not giving anything away, but the couple that's in the hot tub. You're just having
Yeah.
so much fun, and you could tell.
Yeah.
Like I was in radio for a while, and they used to always tell me, like, you don't have to be funny, but as long as you're having fun, it's gonna go through to the audience, and that's exactly what it was like watching Stream. It's like what you could
Yes.
tell the whole cast just was so much fun, and they were really having a great time filming it, and then the audience can relate to that and say, "I love this." Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
No, that's a really nice thing that could, show through.
yeah.
That's nice.
Well, I mentioned you've done singing, dancing, acting, modeling, and so much more. What advice would you give to up and coming artists?
I would give the advice to with all the trends and with social media and different trends for singing, different trends for modeling and acting. I would always just say to stay true to yourself and always just, remember what you like the best and what makes you feel the most comfortable. And that will be the best for anything you do.
No, that's great advice. And I'll give you an example of what you're talking about. As I mentioned, I did a self-published book, and I was part of a writing club. And I was talking to people, and they're saying, "Well, who should I write? Who should I write for?" And I said, "Write for yourself." As I said, if you write for yourself and write what you're passionate about, the audience will find you. If you write for what you think people want to read, nobody's going to want to read it because you're pandering to them and they're going to see right through that. So the same thing with what you're saying. Do what you love and what you're passionate about, and you're going to be great, and you're going to find the jobs, and maybe one won't be for you, but there's going to be another 2 or 3 doors that open up for you and say, Liana, welcome aboard.
Yes, people, they, especially nowadays, they just, everyone likes authenticity
Yep.
and being authentic to yourself.
Yep.
So that always shines through the most.
And you have very eclectic taste. You love everything. So there's so many things open to you. As you mentioned,
Yes.
like with hip hop, ballet, rap, rock, everything. And so the sky's the limit for you.
Yes.
Well, I have to
For
say,
sure.
I've had the best time interviewing you. I'd love to have you back on the show again
Aw,
whenever
thank
you
you.
want to, because I had so much fun. Thanks to your momager for setting this up.
Rich, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Before we go, though, I know you don't like it. Maybe we have to have your mom come on for this part, but what's next and where can people find you?
So you can find me on my Instagram. That's where I usually post, or I also post on TikTok, and that's my name, Liana Pirraglia, and I just spell it Liana, and my last name is Pirralia on social medias.
Okay.
And what's next for me? Oh my gosh, I'm like curious too, because I'm, I just keep auditioning, and then I hope to see what's next. Hopefully, honestly, I have some conventions in the future.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking to do for stream. And I've just been wedding planning, and just so, I'm just as curious as everyone else of what's next. So hopefully something good. I'm waiting to see.
Can we talk about anything that you auditioned for recently, or is that private?
Um,
Nope.
I like to like kind of just spill the beans when it's out, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I'll audition for things and I'm like, oh my God, I'm perfect. And then I'm like, why didn't they pick me? So I guess I like to just like say when it's out. I think that's always the best, because otherwise then I get excited for no reason.
Yeah, well, that means you definitely have to come back. So when
Yes.
you get that next big role, Claw's Corner, next stop.
Yeah. Perfect.
Liana, it was the best having you on the show. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing your success in the future. I look forward to having you kick me in the face at the next convention. Lots of great things coming up.
That's a good pose. Yes, that'll be a good pose. Good photo op.
All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. That wraps up the latest episode of the Claw's Corner. A huge thanks goes out to actress, singer, model, dancer, spokesperson, and host Liana Pirraglia for taking time out of her extremely busy schedule to be a guest on my show. Thank you very much. I also need to thank editor extraordinaire John Bristol, the award-winning Elmwood Productions, for always doing a superb job editing this show each and every week and making it available to all on YouTube. I am also extremely grateful to Rob Bull for all he does to make my show available on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. A huge thanks goes out to Al Coles for airing my show on his cable station to help me expand my audience. And lastly, but definitely not least, I need to thank you, the viewer, for always tuning in. Enjoy your day, everyone.
From the frenetic mind of author Rich Sear. 5 terrifying short stories, now available in one collection. Confessions of a Frenetic Mind. 5 tales of blood-curdling terror, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.